All right, and we're continuing on with the Python Institute. This time we are on lab number 31113, Essentials of the If, Else, If, Else statement. And let's go ahead and dive on into this. Let's see, familiarize yourself with the if, else, if, else statement. Find proper implementation of verbally defined rules. And then testing the code. All right. So the scenario, as you surely know, due to some astronomical reasons, years may be leap or common, the former being 366 days long, while the latter are 365 days long. Since the introduction of the Gregorian calendar in 1852, the following rule is used to determine the kind of year. If the year isn't divisible by 4, it's a common year. Otherwise, if the year isn't divisible by 100, it's a leap year. Otherwise, if the year isn't divisible by 400, it's a common year. Otherwise, it's a leap year. So look at the code in the editor. It only reads the the year number, and needs to be completed with the instructions implementing the test we just described. The code should output one of two possible messages, which are leap year or common year. It would also be good to verify if the entered year falls within the Gregorian era and output the warning otherwise, not within Gregorian calendar. Tip: use greater than, equal, and modulus operators. Not equal, and the modulus operators. And then they give us some test data. For instance, the year 2000 was a leap year, so it says leap year. 2015 was a common year, so it returns common year. 99, common year. 96, leap year. And then 1580 was not within the Gregorian calendar period because that was started in 1582, it says. All right, so there are the 4 basic rules that we need to worry about that we want to put into our code. So it will prompt for a year, and then we have to tell it yes, no, maybe. Well, the very first one that's probably the easiest to deal with is this very last guy right here. Is it part of the Gregorian era? Is the year greater than 1582? And if not, then go ahead and just print out an error. So I'm going to start off with that. And I'm just going to say, if year is less than 1582. So if somebody types in 1581, it will be less than. If they type in 1582, it will not be less than. So if it's less than 1582, then go ahead and print not within the Gregorian calendar period. All right, so that's the very first one. That's probably the easiest of all of them. Let's see. So that's an if. If it is greater than that, then I want it to do something. So that means I'm going to do an else if after that. What is that else if? Well, let's see. If the year isn't divisible by 4. Well, let's look at some examples there. For instance, the year 2000. 1, 2, 3 divided by 4 is divisible by 4. So that is a leap year. But 2015, if I divide by 4, that is not divisible by 4. You see there's a 0.75 at the end. So that is not a leap year. Same thing with 1999. Is that divisible by 4? No, that is not divisible by 4. So pretty much we just need to determine, if I divide by 4, is there a leftover remnant or a remainder? That's where we start using the modulus operator that we've been using quite a bit so far. So let's go ahead and try that. If year modulus 4, now it's going to return back something. It's going to return back a value when I do the modulus operator. So if I do, for instance, 2000 modulus 4, it is going to return back a value, which is going to be 0, because 0 is divisible by 4, and there is no remainder. So I want to say not equal to 0. So if I divide 1999 by 4, the remainder is not equal to 0. It's equal to something. 1994. Did I say 90? Yeah, sure. The remainder is equal to something that is not 0. So that means that that is not a leap year. So print common year. Let's see. Let's clarify that. So go ahead and delete all that, clear all that. So for instance, if I do a print 1999 modulus 4, then we'll see that returns a 3, which is a common year. But if I do a print 2000 modulus 4, then I get a 0, which is a leap year. All right, so if it's not 0, only if it's 0 could it be a leap year. If it's anything else, it's not. So that means not equal to 0 is a common year. But that's not the only option. Let's see. Otherwise, if the year isn't divisible by 100, it's a leap year. So that means I need another else if. Year, and let's see, isn't divisible by 400. I'm sorry, 100. So then that would be modulus 100. Same thing, not equal to 0. Print common year. No. Isn't, yeah, see, I'm getting my things backwards. Isn't divisible by 100. It is a leap year. Okay. Leap year. Lowercase y. So otherwise, that tells me else if. So again, another otherwise, if the year number isn't divisible by 400, it is a common year. So else if year modulus 400 not equal to 0. And it tells me that is a common year. So print common year. And then lastly, it says, otherwise, it is a leap year. So I don't need a comparison at this point. I just need the else statement. And print leap year. All right, so let's run through this one more time. If the year isn't divisible by 4, so modulus 4. If it is divisible by 4, then the result of the modulus is going to be 0. If it isn't, there we go, isn't, so not equal to 0, then it is a common year right there. Now remember, just because it isn't doesn't mean that if it is a leap year. There's a couple of rules there that all have to apply. Otherwise, if the year isn't divisible by 100, so modulus 100, again, not equal to then it is a leap year, it says. And that was where I got my error right there. I tried to type in common year. It was leap year. Otherwise, again, isn't divisible by 400. 4 and 100, 400. So same thing, then it's a common year. Otherwise, if all of those other scenarios, all of those other checks failed, then it is a leap year. Whew. All right. Well, let's check it out. Let's see what we got as far as test data. So we got start off with 2000. And it's not liking me again. All right. So we'll start off 2000, and it says that's a leap year, which is what we were expecting. Next one, 2015. And that was a common year. Out of curiosity, if I type in 2016, then that is a leap year. Yay! What about 2020? If 2016 was a leap year, then 2020 should be a leap year as well. Okay, 1999. Oh, what? That's good. and then 1996, which was a leap year, and then lastly 1580, which is not within the Gregorian calendar period. And there you go. So really the hard part here, there was some if, there were some else if statements. Really the hard part, however, was trying to translate this into this and how to make what would be normal English words into software scripting or programming. Thankfully, they broke it out pretty well for us. They broke it out pretty easily so that we were able to take literally one line here and put it to that line right there. However, this can oftentimes be fairly difficult, and even though these were written in pretty much a top-down approach, that doesn't mean they always will be. So top-down approach worked well for us, but they might have written them in kind of a, this one first, and then this one, and then that one, and then lastly that. It happens. But so there you go. That's figuring out a leap year. By the way, if you're following along with this, keep this code. You will use this at a later date. There's another lab that has you working, actually several other labs that have you working with leap years. And that code right there is going to be your lifesaver for making those work.